This episode is sponsored by Revel Woods. Revel Woods is your source for premium hardwood and resilient flooring. Using the Revel Woods Selector tool, you will be able to find curated suggestions for each specific project based on criteria such as style, color, zip code, and usage. Because the species of wood that performs in a laundry room in Key West is not going to be the same as the wood that will perform in a living room in Chicago. And how do you know that? Well, Revel Woods helps you. Know before you specify. And when you sign up for a free professional membership, you'll get access to exclusive discounts and referral benefits. Visit revelwoods.com to get started. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday. If you happen to listen to my other podcast, Window Treatments for Profit, when you saw Katie's name in the feed, you thought, I know that lady, right? Because I was on her podcast, Colorful Conversations, a while back, a month or so back. And I enjoyed the conversation so much when I listened to it back that I asked her if I could air it on my feed at Window Treatments for Profit. And she graciously said yes. Now, if you have not heard that episode, then we will link Katie's podcast here in the show notes so that you can go listen to it. We had a great conversation about networking, the hows and the ways to do it. And if you struggle with that, you are definitely going to come away with some value. Now, Katie began her career in commercial consulting, color consulting, as a part-time passion project in 2007. Today, her company ColorWorks has grown into a multi-million-dollar commercial design company operating in more than 20 states nationwide with a fully remote team of more than 20. Katie is known for her business acumen. She has grown her own company in a single year by 1,500%. She has a passion for teaching others. She has spent 18 years teaching graduate and undergraduate courses at university. And ultimately, this all combined with her interior design firm to lead her to coaching you, designers who want to scale your business to your lifestyle. She's also a devoted mom of 2 young daughters, and all of this combined gives her this perspective where she truly wants to empower women, both personally and professionally, to be their best. Katie joins us today to bring a wealth of knowledge from her experience in running her multi-million-dollar firm, teaching at university, and now teaching and coaching you. In this conversation, we explored the importance of finding your happy spot, the value of doing the lonely work, and how true confidence is built through experience and knowledge. All right? Now, before I get to this, I just want to say, if you're planning to go to High Point October 2024, Katie and I would absolutely love to see you at our panel discussion, which we will also be joined by Michelle Lynn and Rick Campos, who I know, you know, and love as much as I do. We're still working on the promotional materials, but as soon as we have them, we will be putting all the links in the RSVP out. But I just wanted you to do a little save the date for Saturday, October 26th at 4 p.m. All right. And well before High Point, if you're planning to go to Las Vegas Market in July, if you're listening to this in real time, you should plan to spend an extra day in Vegas and join me at the Power Talk Friday tour. Yes, you should. This will be happening August 2nd, and I will be joined by my amazing experts, Amber De La Garza, Deb Mitchell, and Shauna Lynn Simon. If you're listening in real time, we are still in early bird pricing through July 17th, 2024. Okay? Limited seats for Power Talk Friday. Don't sit on it. Get your ticket now. For more information, go to powertalkfriday.com. As I usually say, all the links will be in the show notes. All right. All of the housekeeping is done. Let's get to Katie. so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
I am so humbled and honored to be here, sweet lady. It's my distinct pleasure.
Well, I tell you what, I had an incredible time being on your podcast recently, and we talked all about networking and some actionable strategies. And it's funny because I really enjoyed that conversation. I think the two of us really together brainstormed a lot of really good ideas for interior designers and trying to not only understand the value of networking, but also some strategies for overcoming when you might think it's the answer to what you should be doing, but you don't really want to do it. So I think we did a good job pulling that apart, right?
I mean, yeah, it was us, but I do think we did a good job, Lou. Self-serving as that sounds. No, you're a fabulous guest. You're always a fabulous host. And so it was so fun to have a role reversal and have you come on, because I've so often been listening to your show and I think, but I want to ask her the question. Like, I have a question about that I want to ask her. And so I was like, that's actually what precipitated all this. I was like, I need Lou Ann on my show. And would she come on my show? When you said yes, I was just, I was deeply humbled. It was a great call.
Yeah, no, I love going on other podcasts. It's so funny. People ask me and sometimes they're like, I've been waiting forever and now I'm finally going to, I'm like, all you have to do is ask. I'm coming. The answer is yes. You had me at hello.
I'm not even kidding. I was so taken aback though by your humility and your kindness. And you were like, I would love to. And I'm like, but really? Like, you're Lou Ann. Like, are you sure you want to come on my show? I'm not even kidding you. And I was like, it was fun to report back to our team. I'm like, guys, we're getting Lou Ann. It was like this huge thing. Everyone's like, no way. I'm like, yes, we are. It was fabulous.
Oh, no.
I mean,
look, we're all out here doing our best. We're all working hard, trying to get the day, all the things done in a day. I'm the same as everybody else, So, but I enjoyed it. And we'll put the episode in the show notes to your podcast so that, they can go and listen to it and everything. So here's the thing, my friend.
Yeah.
As we have been getting to know each other over these last couple of months, it's been incredible for me because, I've said it a lot on the show. It's like, I don't know, like catnip, or it's like when I meet somebody who's smart, I'm like, oh my God, I want to talk to you again. I just get rah, and then it's like, and you know about that too. And you know about that too. And, that's the experience I'm having with you, Katie, is that the conversation, sometimes we're just cracking up and we're, talking about GPS nonsense and things like that. But there's always something in there, some insight, some observation that you're making that keeps showing me what an astute businesswoman you are. And knowing that you've run your own interior design firm for 20 years, that you have your podcast now, you do coaching for other design professionals, it makes sense to me. Like sometimes, somebody will tell me about another coach in the industry. And I'm like, great, let's hear about them. Who are they? What are they? And you go and sometimes you look and you're looking for that's why they're coaching. Like sometimes you're really looking for it. And a lot of times you find it, right? But with you, I didn't have to look very deep and very far. I was like, oh yeah, this is a smart one. So,
You're always so kind. You're always so kind. It's embarrassing. I'm glad this is a podcast and you can't see how red I am, because I am deeply humbled. And it's been a long journey. It hasn't happened overnight, for sure. And I'm very thankful for all of the nuances along the way and the pressing pauses along the way too, that almost served me a lot like a wind-up car. Sometimes in life you have to pull back to go forward faster. And so there's been a lot of that over 20 years to get where we are today, for sure. I don't want anyone listening to be like, that's amazing, I want to do that tomorrow. Like, maybe you can. And if you can, great. Go be smarter, brighter, faster. But it took me that long.
Yeah. Well, and I've said it too. I said, the 40 years of doing a business, it's so funny because I'll do a live presentation somewhere and then, maybe the organizer will come up to me and be like, oh, we didn't tell you there was going to be Q&A. Is it okay? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, right. Like I've never, I'm doing these live on air coaching strategy sessions and I read the thing and I'm like, okay, let's go. And it's just, there is a lot that goes into actually running a profitable business for more than a hot minute that informs when you show up to talk about it and, help others do it as well. And like you said, it doesn't mean you can have less years of experience, but I know I started this at 35 years in business at WindowWorks, and I know every one of those 35 years has helped every conversation I've had on the show. And
Better
I
believe it.
remember, my whole family, my mother, my husband, everybody, when I started doing, they're like, oh my God, this is what you were born to do. This is like so great. Like, you're so good at this. And I was like, and I was feeling it. I was like, oh my God, like I love doing this. But there was a moment when I 1000% knew that if I had had the opportunity 10 years before, 20 years before, all the Luann personality, that crazy stuff would have been there, but not the solid foundation of information.
Yep.
Right? Of like, yeah, that
Yep.
happened to me and this is how we mitigated. Or, you know what? I remember hitting that revenue level and the hurdles that we had to get past. Or I remember my first employee constantly hiring somebody like me to do admin work. Like, what a stupid mistake it was. It's like looking for a salesperson personality to do the books and answer the phone. No wonder they never worked out. Like, come on. But you gotta go through these things. So I love your body of work and the successful business that you've created. Where do you want to talk about, Katie? You have scaled your business to 20 employees.
Yep.
That is, nothing to shake a stick at.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start the conversation on? What do you want to share today?
Great question. Yeah. I mean, I think it's really interesting to talk about the trajectory and going back 20 years to where we started. I mean, I did not go to school in interior design. I went to school in communications. And then I went on and got my MBA because I was it dawned on me, everything in life, it doesn't matter whether you're running a design firm or you're doing window treatments or whatever it may be, it is a business. If you want to make money, which we all need to do in order to eat, be profitable, and grow, you got to understand business. And I was like, I'm not sure what I'm doing with my life right now, but I love education, which is what got me to coaching because I can't stop learning. I love education. And I was like, I think I want to do one more degree. I really think I want to do one more degree. And I did it. And, that was so the tipping point of being able to say, I want to combine right and left brain activity. Like I want to do both. And I love both. And so, yeah, I started in color consulting, got certified by the IACC and started there because I was just like, why is there just not one person out here who can help you choose paint colors? I don't need a sofa and I don't need a lamp and I just need paint colors, people. And it was my own frustration. It was my own frustration, truthfully. And then that just ended up morphing into 3 years of residential work. And then I decided residential clients aren't for me. I'm not nice enough to drink that many cups of coffee and talk that long about your pillow choices. I actually want to turn a profit and move this a lot faster. And this is too slow and it's not my jam. And so we went into commercial design. After that, I said goodbye to residential and we've been camping out there ever since as far as a firm. And during that time, I didn't want to give up learning and growing. And so I actually started teaching undergraduate and graduate courses and in marketing and business ethics, systems, all of that. And I loved it. And eventually the firm got to the point where I couldn't, which is great. Yay. First world problems, right? But then we got the right people in the right seats on the bus. And I went, I still miss education. I miss learning. And so then we decided to start coaching. And I was like, yeah, it's a really happy place because there's nothing in life that lights me up more than helping people succeed, especially women, and become unapologetically profitable and have the life that they want. Because I think we don't listen to our gut instinct. We're too afraid to go there. And so we kind of suffer in silence. And I just want to give people the freedom to say, go build the life that you want. Scale up, scale down, scale all around. Let's talk through it, but go build the life that you want because you really only do get one shot at this thing.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So how many years ago so you were actively teaching at university while doing your interior design company and that stopped. And then at some point you started coaching. So where are we at with the coaching? How many years? I'm not clear on how many years you're coaching. All the conversations we've had, I never asked you that.
No, we're about a year into coaching. I had about
Oh, so it is relatively new.
it's
Okay.
brand new. It's so fun. Like, it's a good reminder to me. And we always talk about this with our marketing team, but I'm like, we have this established, beautiful firm that's doing great. And then we have this baby business, right? Like, we're over here building a new business of coaching and podcasting. I will tell you, I'm loving doing that because it reminds me of all the steps that businesses
Yeah.
go through. After 20 years, you can forget that. And I can
So
teach it,
true.
but now I'm walking it. And that's a beautiful
That's the experience I'm having also after
right?
Window Works and then 35 years growing Luann Niagara Inc. I'm like, oh, Vinny's not here to do that thing. I have to be a big girl and do that myself. It sucks.
Totally, right? You're like, oh, gotta put on the big girl panties for this one. Okie
Yeah,
dokie.
like, yeah.
But it makes you better to your coaching clients, right? Because you're like, I
Yeah.
remember when. And now it's
Yeah.
living it firsthand again, which is really, really great. It's fun to go out there and find all those new industry connections and find women like you who are killing it. That is so empowering to me.
Yeah.
It's really fun to be able to go back. So yeah, to answer your question directly, taught for almost 20 years, undergraduate, graduate courses, wrote courses for undergraduate, graduate, took about a year off. And then I just like couldn't stop. And now I just am like, I just love to geek out. There's most conversations where I'm like, I read an article about, and I just feel like the old professor, right? But that's my happy place. Like, I really enjoy learning, and I love learning too, what I'm learning from my students and my podcast guests, and like lifelong learning. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's the goal. I want, and even how I raise my kids, I want curious and kind. Because if you're curious and kind, you can do amazing things in life. It doesn't matter the genre, it doesn't matter personal, professional, it doesn't matter. But curious and kind, I feel like can take you a long ways.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. So, Katie, my brain is in a couple of different directions.
Go for it.
For all the talking that we did, we haven't really talked about a through line here, which is unusual for me.
Welcome to our potpourri show.
But part of me, you know what? I'm tongue tied on it because it's not often I get somebody with the skill set and the knowledge that you've got, right? That I can really just throw any question and I know I'm going to get a good answer and we're going to have a good conversation about it.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to focus on something that would be a really good tangible benefit for someone listening, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about like the questions that go through my mind, and I'm phrasing it in this long ass stupid way because you're at will to say, that's not what we should do, Lou. This is what we should do. Okay. But I'm going to throw the spaghetti at the wall and then you pick the strand out. Okay. But like part of me is like, we both are actively working closely with interior designers that are trying to make their businesses more profitable.
Yes.
My question for you, having run a profitable business, having taught at university for many years, and now actively coaching designers, is there a place where you're like, this is the thing that people bang their head against? I mean, and that we could kind of talk about mitigating? Like, I know it's profitability, but what is it in there? Is I know it's mindset also, but it's also just the lack of knowledge on what is profitable pricing. So what comes to your mind with something that you know is a thing that you own it as information and you could teach somebody listening that to maybe create an aha moment for somebody? Because I know you got 10 topics I could call you out on.
You're too kind. I think it's the business of design. Do you spend as much time on your business as you spend designing? Do you run your business as a business? And that encompasses profitability, that encompasses processes, that encompasses marketing, that encompasses knowing your target market. That's a huge component of marketing, right? All of those variables, but it's doing the hard things like showing up at that accounting meeting you just don't want to have, right?
Yeah.
But it's knowing your numbers better than your accountant. And until you can cross these barriers, that they're psychological barriers, whether you don't think you deserve to make enough money, right? Or I'm scared to death to go get my Monday accounts payable, accounts receivable, and cash flow sheets, which you should be getting every Monday. So you're in an empowered position to make decisions about your firm for the rest of the week when it comes to finances. Whatever it is, it's getting over those hurdles and understanding you don't need an MBA to know business. My God, Lou, look at what you have done. It is breathtaking. I think I can speak on behalf of your audience and say, where would we be without Luann? Right? 100%. You're teaching people this every day. you don't have to have a master's in it, but figure it out. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
not making the money, if you're afraid of that accounting call, sit with yourself and figure out what it is that's holding you back in business, and then become a bison and charge after it until there is no
Mm.
fear. That is so hard to do, but it's what's going to end up yielding the greatest ROI for you.
Yeah, I hear you. And I think when I think about the various things over the years that have been my thing, right? Like the thing that I didn't want to do or the thing that was hard to do or whatever. And by the way, still experiencing some of them still looking at me every day going, come on, girl, like, you know, like this,
Yeah.
this, you gotta tackle this one, right? But when I do know the before and after of when
Yeah.
you do, and it's one thing to tell someone about the nirvana on the other side of setting out to achieve something and get past a hurdle in your business and accomplishing it, and the eye opening and the confidence and the, like, just, you know, I did it feeling, right?
Yes.
That's great, but it's kind of like looking at the gym, right? It's
Oh,
like, there's the gym, the 3-month boot camp. I got to sign up for it. At the end of it, my blood pressure is going to be better. My cholesterol is going to be better. My skin is going to be better. My sleep is going to be better. My butt is probably going to be better. My heart is going to be better. But, like, you know, I don't know. That workout stinks. I don't feel like doing it today. You know what? I had a really rough day and I probably should, you know, go for a walk in the sunshine instead. Like, that's the thing, right?
it's totally the thing.
It's the nudge there, right?
It's totally the thing. And it's the thing we were talking about in our marketing team meeting this morning, but it's the motion versus the action. Like we were talking about in Atomic Habits. Love that book,
Great book.
right? Because motion, once again, we can have lots of motion. Like, oh, we should sign up for that gym class. Yep. We should look at our numbers. Yep. I should read that report. Yep. I should talk to my CPA because the quarter's kind of ending and I might owe some money, but that I haven't really accounted for yet. We should talk about that. The action is I booked the Zoom call with the CPA and we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite thing to coach to is action. I want to see action. And this is where, if you're looking for that coach to like hold your hand and nurture and love, and we're on week 5 and we just don't have really any action, don't call me. Please don't call me. We will not be a good match. I have a list of fabulous coaches I can give you for that who are so patient and kind.
Don't give them to me, sweetie.
But don't give them to me. Yeah, exactly. Right. And I'm like, but if you actually want the action and you want to see some changes and you have some ideas and you want to embrace those hard spots, let's get there. Because you're right. And to use your example, your butt's going to look a lot better after the next 3 months. So will your profit and loss sheets, right?
Yeah.
It's the same idea. And I think there's this liberty that comes with middle age and 20 years of doing it that you probably feel too. It's just we've been there, we've done that. We know kind of what works. And now I want to see other people do it, and they can do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to, there's not some secret strategy out there. You know, 90% of it is just showing up and doing the hard work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it really is doing the self-assessment, right? And sometimes that assessment needs to happen from somebody else's eyes, right? So it takes that outside coach to be like, these are the things that are the problems in your business. You want to go over here. It's almost like, well, I'm going to go run 20 miles every day. And you're like, right. But really what we need to be doing is some push-ups. Like, that's the problem, because you need to carry 60 pounds of groceries and 2 twins every day. So running is going to help a little, but it's not really going to be able to help you lift 2 60-pound kids. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I do. Yeah. I went to my chiropractor. He's like, stop stretching. You're hurting your bulging disc. I'm like, wait, no. I'm 44. But I don't have bulging disc. Let's try again. That's adorable, but I'm not here for that conversation. And he's like, no, seriously, you need to have long strides and stop hiking on your treadmill. And I'm like, wait, what? Say, huh? Oh my gosh, my back's in a much better place. But you're right. Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. And that's where it comes back to, I coach because I am coached, right? Like there should be this total synergy of, you have people pouring into you so you can pour into them. You cannot.
It's funny. I was going to ask you if you have coaches. I suspected you do, but you're actively coached as well.
I am, because I wouldn't say actively, it comes and goes depending on where we're at in the life cycle and what I have volume for. But yes, I keep coming back. I made this mistake when I taught yoga. I started in yoga probably about 15 years ago now. Loved yoga, took for years, started teaching, stopped taking, burnout. Massive burnout, not sustainable. And when I had my second kid, I was like, yeah, we're going to take a long break from yoga, right? too long, hence the bulging disc problem. But it's a good reminder. You have to keep pouring into the creative juices. You have to find
Yes.
people. Like, I have so loved our conversations, and I'm not merely saying that because I'm on your show. I learned something from you. I love showing up. My husband is so funny. He's like, "You were super jazzed today." I'm like, "You don't even understand. I got to talk to Luann for 2 hours. We talked about all the things. It was absolutely epic. I think I found a real friend." And like, it was such a great moment because it was a pour in, pour out synergy, right?
Yeah.
And like, when you
Yeah.
find those spots in life, sitting here in middle age now, embrace them and hold on to them and don't let them go because they don't come around every day.
Yeah. Well, and I love that. So like it's funny because I'm officially coached by Amber de la Garza continuously because she's a productivity specialist, and like Luann's middle name needs that there, okay? Because I am like,
I
we're going
love the
that way, we're going that way,
self-reflection in that statement.
right? Like no, I'm an old girl and I know my flaws, right? It's like no, we're gonna keep correcting for this, right? But to your other point, though, I have my cousin Eileen. Now I have you. I have Nicole Heimer, Sandra Funk. Like there are others, and I'm going to forget them at the top of my head, but there are others that are on my Voxer that
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I got a problem. I'm just like bang, bang, bang through my Rolodex. Like, who is my person for this problem? And it's like, can I ask you, can you walk me through it? Can you help me? Tracy Connell, whoever it is, all the people, Nancy Ganskaufer, right?
Yep.
And the thing
Love
about
Nancy.
that is that I think that I think every one of us needs to be actively coached at some point. I shouldn't say needs to be. I think every one of us can benefit
Yeah.
from being actively coached at some point
Yeah.
because I believe it's in the act of paying for advice and learning if you will take it.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
there's a moment where you got to take the advice. So if
Yeah.
it's your friend and your bestie, which I love, you are now in that circle, right? I've got these people. But like if it says something and I'm like, I don't know, right? Like maybe I don't know. But if I'm paying you, then you are going to come back to me next week and go, what did you do with that piece of advice? I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. Yeah.
It was a busy week, but I didn't get a lot done in the productivity department.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Now you
And
have
so
to.
what I know is my experience of actively being coached, I now translate to my experience with my circle of mentors and mentees because we're just like you said, we're back and forth, right? And so what happens is if somebody in my circle says something and I'm just like, what you talking about, Willis? You know what I mean? Like I got to go to,
I
all
love that.
right, Luann. All right. Okay, you got to sit with this for a second, girl. Like you didn't pay this person to say this to you, but like this is a person you respect and you went to them for this information. And the only reason I'm going down this whole jag is it has been the only thing
Yeah.
that has gotten me past the things in my business experience and life that were the things I didn't want to get past.
Yep.
Like whether it was finally learning how to do the darn QuickBooks or whatever it is. It's like, I got people for this. Do I need to do it? Or, what it is it with about the marketing thing or whatever it is. I just know that we don't pop out and know how to run a business. We just don't.
No.
And I don't care if you went to a 4-year college to learn design. I mean, I always say about window treatments, there's no school for window treatments. Like there's no school for it. Right. So
I
people
never
would say,
thought about that till you said it. Yeah.
right. I was at a live event somewhere and somebody said to me, you got to watch me when I'm live. It's like, I mean, you don't mean you have to come see me. I mean, you just got to be careful because I will come out with it. Right.
I'm here
I'm like,
for that.
it's just 100 of us here. Where else is this going?
We're best
right?
friends. Let's chat.
Right. But like, I remember one time somebody said to me, they were like, I hesitate to say this. I don't really want to incite anything here. I am just curious your opinion on it. Do you think a designer needs a degree in order to be successful?
Ooh, that's a
And
bold
I
question.
just was, yeah. Yeah. And I just like, I said to them, I said, well, I'm just going to ask you a question. How much do you know about WindowWorks? Like, do you listen to the show? Do you have an opinion on WindowWorks? Would you say WindowWorks is successful? And they were like, absolutely. I said, now tell me that I'm not really a window treatment professional because I didn't go to any school for window treatments. Right. And so it's like, no, it's like you do look, if you've got it, great. If you've got the degree, great. But if that's not the criteria. It's how often do you show up and do the hard things, to your original point. If you don't like to look at the P&L and the balance sheet and the reports on Monday, then guess what you should be doing on Monday, right? Until it's not painful to do it.
Literally.
And I get it. It takes a few, like I always talk about Finance Fridays. I like to do it on Friday. Like, I'm just like, all right, can I just have a happy week? And the funny thing is it's a happy Friday too, when you're making money and you're looking at your numbers. You know what I'm saying? Yes. But I'm still the person that's like, please don't clog my brain on Monday with that.
Yeah.
Like by Friday, I know I got to do it. Let's do it. Yeah. And I do it and it's happy, but it's not my first place to go.
Sure.
And I get it, but you got to go to the place you don't want to go, right?
You have to. I love this book by Kevin Carroll. It's called The Little Red Ball, but he talks about in there, he got to write his own job description for Nike. And I know I told you this off air, but I want to share with your audience because it's so good. Yeah. And so he named himself a catalyst with a K. And
that's right.
Right. And his whole thing is about moving things forward. But sometimes it goes back to the little wind-up car analogy. Sometimes it's not about going forward until you've gone backward or until you've done what he calls the lonely work. And I love this term. When you have a chance to shine, when I have this awesome opportunity to come on your show, there's been 20 years of work and lessons and folks, let's be frank, failures along the way, and all of these things that have gotten us here today. And 90% of them, no one has ever seen, but it's preparing and doing that lonely work, that quiet work, that late night work on that last project, because you promised it to a client and you know that you need to do right by this client because that's part of your brand. And so you're going to stay up late and get it done, or you're going to go ahead and go review those reports so that you can make sound financial decisions when it comes to where you're spending your marketing money, where you're spending, where your next hire is going for that seat on your bus. It's doing all of that. So when you have the chance to shine, you can sit on that seat in confidence. And I love that because we just think it is an instant success because we live in a culture where everything is instantaneous. We have disposable silverware, disposable Pampers, don't call me Pampers, please don't call me, but everything is disposable or instantaneous. This is why we have microwave, Kraft, chicken noodle, whatever, right?
Right.
But that's not how businesses get baked. Businesses are built on the back of lonely work and sinking in and doing the hard work so you can show up when the time is right. And it's hard too, living in a world where we see, remodels happen in 30 minutes and whatnot, because all of your audience knows that doesn't happen, right? But it also isn't going to happen for your business. And that's a key point.
I love this. This is the version, and I think I might have said this to you when we were on our 2-hour call that we never recorded. When you said that, because it strikes me as what I've said on the show often, the version of you have to be prepared to get lucky, right? Yes. And it's just, right? It's like you're doing all that. I love this way of describing it, that the business is built on the backs of the lonely work. I love that. And it is that it is the exact expression of being prepared to be lucky, because doing all the things and then getting the chance, somebody that's phoning it in. Listen, I've had 1,000 interviews. There's 1,000,000 conversations. It's like I get joy and pleasure, I promise you, from every single one. I couldn't keep doing it. I would absolutely lose my mind if I wasn't enjoying it. But there's just what I said at the beginning of the show. There's just some difference when someone, like I say it all the time, like if I'm going to, matter of fact, we'll have to tell them how we're going to be at High Point on a panel together with our friends, right?
Yes.
But like when I am invited to moderate a panel at High Point, the answer is yes, by the way. Just the answer is yes. I've also found out that people are uncomfortable to ask me. They think I'm going to say no. And I'm like, no, the answer is yes. I like to do this.
Yes. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. You're the easiest yes out there. You want to come on my podcast? Yes. You want to moderate a panel for me, Luann? Yes. And I'm like, really?
Because It's all in service of what we're doing. We're all working for the same goal to make sure that the
Yes.
industry has its collective confidence and makes money.
120%. And that it's not
right?
hatchback bandits. It's like a reputable profession, not just a sidebar. My sister happens to be good at aesthetics. Maybe she could come in and help you with your living room. No, you're going to
Yeah,
pay
and
her and she's
let
going
that
to have a
girl, let
business.
that sister go do that stuff. But let's
Totally.
make a delineation between the design industry and the hobbyist who has good taste. That's all I care about. Let the hobbyist go all day long and have good taste and shop in all the places for his sister. But anyway, so my point is that when I'm asked to do a panel, a lot of times, most of the time, a PR rep will come to me, right? And they'll be like, oh, we got this panel. And there's a built-in panel. And, it's great. And I love it. And I'm not going to say no to it if I can do the time and place and where it is, because I love doing it. But if I can put the panel together, that is my sweet spot. And I always say to whoever is hosting the event and asking, and I said, because the thing is, I like to throw fastballs. I like to be up there and ask the question that matters. And if I am looking at 3 or 4 sets of eyeballs that I have never spoken to before, I have no idea how deep I can go, because my goal is not to embarrass anybody ever. Right.
No.
But if I get like I have 2 conversations was 3 conversations with you, Katie. Now I know I can ask you anything. I don't have to check. Are you going to know? Are you going to, it's just like throw the fastball. She'll hit a home run. Right.
Aww,
And it's like,
we're going
and
to try.
that's the thing, but that's the thing. And there's a difference. And I think that goes back to doing the lonely work and doing the prepare to get lucky, because when you are running your business, and you're getting your design game, like I always say, your design chops are good. Yay for you. You got to have that, because the rest of it doesn't matter if you don't have design chops. But you're getting your design chops up, you're building your Instagram to a billion people, but you can't hit a fastball when it comes to running your business. Like, you're not being prepared to be lucky, because I'm not talking about the lucky to be on a panel. That's ridiculous. That's fun, right? For all of us. I'm talking about somebody comes out of left field and they're like, I saw your work on Instagram or this and that, and I want you to do a multiple $1 million project out of state. But you don't have a process to get somebody through your front door when they're down the block. Like, you're not prepared for that work. You're not prepared to be lucky. You've built all the flash up to make it look like you're ready, but you're not. And you get ready by doing the hard work, right?
Yeah, nobody said I lived a better day because I outlined 5 processes today. Yay, me, pour the bottle of wine, right? But when that knock happens on that door and you've got those 5 processes to back you, because we know processes work when people don't, when they're sick on maternity leave or vacation, your processes still work, then you're in a position to succeed. And that's exciting. And those opportunities, then it's not the fear and trepidation of, oh gosh, there's this opportunity. Is it going to be okay? Can I handle it? And you feel like you're driving an out of control car. It's, I've got this. I've done this. Let's do this.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's funny, because I remember I did an interview with Laura Hodges, and we'll have to link it in the show notes. And she had an opportunity to do the Southern, I'm going to say it wrong. Here I go. Southern Home Tradition Living Show House. I put all the words in the wrong order. Take it to the bank. I think the order is something like that.
We're going to go with that.
Correct it. Yeah. But it's an interesting show house. I don't know if you've heard about it, Katie.
No.
What they do is with this show house, and we'll correct this in the outro if I'm wrong, but what they do is it's one designer and does the whole house.
I love that. Instead,
holy crow, right? But think about that. Think about that work, and you're still running an interior design firm. Right? This isn't making you coin doing this. This is making you marketing money. Like, it's not making you marketing money. It is, you're churn it as marketing, right? But the hours and the labor that you spend is basically like money that you're not earning. And Laura, when she came on the show and described the way she approached this opportunity, it was like, oh, you are so ready to do this. It was not like, you look amazing. Your work looks amazing. We have no idea if you can handle this. And here's your, here's the crown. Go be the Southern traditional living show house person. It was like, no, 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 no. She was ready to do it, and you could hear it in the way she described how she approached it, her team approached it, the things that she did, and I was just like that.
Well, no, it's to your point about catnip. It's the same idea. And I think like what people don't realize is so much of relationships are intangibles, right? And so like when you're going out to meet that prospect that's finally your dream client and they're showing up and they're doing what you want, or you have multiple ones, all the work that you've done, you carry that with you. And that comes across in your tone, in your body language, in your confidence, in your presentation, in your ability to hit fastballs, right? It's all there because you have spent the time. You've honed your skills. You've done the processes. You've sat with the CPA. So you know whether you can even afford to do a project like Laura did, or if your whole firm would fall apart, right? All of that plays into it. And that just, it does. It takes time. I wish I could tell you, oh my gosh, this is the sexy new solution to profitability, Luann. Not sexy over here. But if you want to come grind out the hard work and do the things you know you need to do to get to the next level in your business, yeah, then let's talk.
Yeah. This episode is sponsored by MyDoma Studio. MyDoma Studio is your complete designer toolkit. MyDoma makes it easy to streamline your processes, track projects, communicate with clients, and get everything organized. It's created by designers for designers, and it specifically addresses what you need as a business owner in this very complex industry. I've said countless times that systems and processes are how you reach the next level of profitability and peace of mind. MyDoma Studio makes it easy to do that. You can get 20% off your first 3 months by going to mydomastudio.com/a well-designed business. Yeah. So what are some of the first things, or what is anything? What is like somebody that is not in a position to hire you or anybody else at this moment, something that they can checklist, they can do, they can aspire to do. We've been pounded in their head that it's important to do, but what's something they can do? Anything?
Can I start with the
mind,
intuition
Katie?
and scalability conversation? Can we go down that road for a hot minute? Because I think it's really, first of all, before you try to do any of this, it's sitting with yourself and knowing, is this what I'm even supposed to be doing? This is one of my favorite things as a parent. I feel like my little kiddos are like onions, and we're peeling back layers to figure out what it is they love. But nothing makes me sadder than someone doing what they think they're supposed to be doing, but it's not their happy. So before you go spend all your time and energy and go down this road, sit with yourself for a minute and say, is this my happy place? And if it's not, go find your happy place. Maybe your happy place really is drafting, and you're like, I just want to draft all day long and take home a paycheck. I don't want to hang out a shingle. I don't want to scale a business. And those things are all like esteemed to be of the highest echelon of you've reached business, right? Maybe not. And that's not your happy place. No, when you've really reached pinnacle is when you found your happy place and you're running full bore at it.
Yeah.
So sit with yourself and figure out what is that for you. And if you don't know, find a workbook, find a coach, find something, start journaling and figure out what it is that makes you tick. Once you figure that out, then start saying, where does this fit into my life? Because this is the biggest thing about scaling. Everyone says scale, scale, scale. And oh gosh, Katie, you have a multi-million-dollar firm and this is great. And this is whatever. Folks, it took 20 years to get there. And let me tell you, a lot of those 20 years, we weren't at 6 figures. I was sitting back waiting to see, am I going to get married? Am I going to have kids? I hope I get to have kids. I didn't have my first kid till I was almost 35. And they're like, geriatric pregnancy on the chart, right? I'm like, sorry, this just took a hot minute to get here. But I pulled back for a while. And I think sometimes too, giving yourself the permission to say, I'm going to take a period of contraction. What if we scaled in reverse? Back to our wind-up car, so that when we want to move forward, we can in an efficient way. But right now, that isn't the time. I need to build some processes into my business. I want to have kids. I want to enjoy this stage of whatever. That's okay too, because then when you do get to the point where you have that time back, the lonely work, I feel like, feels much less lonely and guilt-ridden, because you're not thinking of what you should be doing because you didn't make time for that first, right?
Right.
and giving
Right.
yourself
Right.
that
Right. Right.
permission to
Right.
do that. I mean, but those are actionable things. Figure out, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this my happy place? Then how fast am I supposed to be doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's really fast. Maybe you were like a 747 down the runway. You know what you're meant to do. You've been holding back for 10 years and you're like, I have the time, I have the space, and I know, let's do this. Rocket. I'm like, I will be your co-pilot. Let's get you there, right? And maybe you're more kind of like the snail, and that's totally fine. And you're like, I know what I'm supposed to do, but this is going to be a slow march for 3 to 5 years. I'm going to build some great processes. I'm going to listen to some awesome podcasts like Luann's. I'm going to get the lay of the land, and then we're going to slowly pick up speed and we're going to work into it. Right. But figure out how fast you want to do it
Mm-hmm.
too. And don't
Mm-hmm.
let anybody judge you for the rate that you're
Mm-hmm.
going. Cause I love to say your business should work for
Right.
you. You should not work for it. If you're working for your business and it isn't paying you, it's not serving you, it's not fulfilling you, time out. Just time out for one hot minute. We've got something going on here that we need to unpack. And don't be afraid to take the
Mm-hmm.
time out.
Yeah. I love all that. I love all that because it applies in multiple layers, right? So, for example, you're suggesting first start with what do you want? What is your happy place? What does the model of your business look like? Do you want to be a solo? Do you want to be eventually a multi-person firm? Do you blah blah blah, right? But it also applies if because you said, what if you think if you really evaluate it, you're like, am
Mm,
I happy? Like that's like if the answer there is to no, we've got Houston, we've
totally.
got a problem, right? And so it could be also that you feel like all of that is sort of in place, but maybe you're not working
Mm,
in the part of design. So maybe like you were in residential and you're like, nope, I'm out. Like, I don't want to have coffee. I don't want to talk about pillows. Like, let's
yep.
go B2B, you know, tight deadlines, firm commitments, the path
Solid
is clear.
budgets.
It's a yes or
Yep.
it's a no. We're moving. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Like, and that's the thing. And I love even the option of if you really love designing or drafting or whatever, you don't have to own your own firm. You can work for someone else. You don't. And the funny thing is, when you were saying the drafting this example, it's like my brain went, right, you could go out on your own I said to myself, yeah, you could go start your own business as a drafter. I'm like, no,
Ah,
that's not the point. The
yeah.
point is that person might rather be employed as a drafter if they're already not happy self-employed as a designer. Then they have to at least take into
Yeah.
consideration that the self-employed is the part that's not the happy part,
Totally.
right? And that drafting for someone else
And you
would
don't have
be,
to be
right?
apologetic. And that's not a
So,
failure, or it's not a less than. It's I found my happy spot. And my husband loves this term, sustainable. You're creating something that's sustainable for you.
mm,
When you're in your happy spot, it's like runners who hit that sweet spot, those marathon runners. I don't run. If someone asks me if I'm running, I'm like, is there a bear? I need a yoga mat. But they tell me, right, that there is this happy spot where you hit this stride. I mean, there's a reason that expression
yeah.
exists, and that is sustainable
Mhm.
and incredible. And if you're
Yeah.
feeling burnout, it's not to say that you're in the wrong position. Possibly you just need your cup filled up. You just haven't had anyone pour into you for a hot minute. I'm not saying abort your profession,
Yes.
but you do have to sit with yourself for a minute in it. But yeah,
Mhm.
sometimes find that spot that is your sweet spot, because it will sustain you when you're like, business is down, what's going on? Or there's something happening. When I had newborn kids, man, especially as an old mom, it was hard. I was like, my world got
Yeah.
rocked for 35 years. I'd kind of been like doing this thing and happy with it. And then I'm like, why I can't reason with you? Can you just stop crying for one short minute?
Yeah.
I'll be back with you shortly. Can you hold? Can you please hold? Right?
We had a contract. There would be no
Right.
crying on
This was
Tuesday.
my work day. And it took me a total minute to adjust to that and figure that out and try to go, oh my gosh, how did we get here? And I lost my train of thought on that. But it's just the idea of figuring out like what is it that makes you happy? And even through those hard times with kids, I actually really enjoyed my profession. It was interesting. I had my first kid. I had a lot of people
Mm.
say, are you gonna still do this? I'm like, one, would you ever ask a man that? Kind of
Yeah. Right.
took me aback. But I'm like, yeah, this is the yin
Yeah.
to my yang. And as I went on and had a second kid, I
Yeah.
realized, hang on a minute. My motherhood actually really helps inform my business, and my business really helps inform my
Mm,
parenting. There was an interesting synergy that came out of that, but it did take a minute to unpack. But I'm glad I didn't give up on it.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, it's like so many of the stages of our life really do just, they throw it like, and I love your analogy of wind the car back so that you can start again and be stronger with the next start out of the gate because it's like, like anything. It's the reflection of what are I doing? Is it really, serving me at this point? Is it serving the people who mean the most to me in this life? Because there's other things, right? You could be doing something and just running a million miles an hour and just sort of getting it done and maybe getting outward
Hmm.
external validation that it's good, but you're not even sitting still enough to know that you're miserable because you can't even feel that. And then other people are in your world and you're not taking it in.
Love that.
Right.
I
It's
really
like,
love that.
yeah, you have to have a minute with it. Like there was a point when I first was starting the podcast and for the first couple of years, of course, I had to do window works also. That was the primary business, right? And I was the primary salesperson for that business. And, it was the only one that sold to all of the designers. You're just not like, I mean, Vinny's a great guy and he can sell you an awning and can sell you a blind, but he's not going out like, to Sandra Funk's project and going to work the job with her. And so, I mean, we had so many designer accounts and I was the only one who could do it. And there was no like, oh, no, I've got a podcast for the next couple of days. We can't get to the Hamptons, or whatever. And so the beginning, I was working 7 days a week and working 14, 15 hours a day and really trying to consistently divide my brain up to like, okay, this block of time is podcast.
Hmm.
This block of time is, quotes. This block of time is managing my end of the business that I was responsible for managing at Window Works, right? And there was a point that it was fine. We both knew it was working and that I was enjoying it. And there was a little, pay in the piper. But to the point, what I was making is there was another point where I just got in the habit of
Ah.
working 7 days a week
Hmm.
at some point. And he's like, I don't know that that's necessary. I'm like, how could it be not necessary? Of course it's necessary. I'm busy and I have
Right?
things to do.
Oh, yeah, doing all the lonely work.
You know
All
what
the
I'm
lonely
saying?
work. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's like, and it really, that was an
Mm.
Amber de la Garza
Mhm.
teaching, several months of that, but it was me not really looking around and saying, is this, to your point, as I'm
Totally
wrapping
fine.
it back to your point, is it serving my life? Is it serving my life? And so, now we have lots of employees here at Luann Nigara Inc. So I don't work 7 days a week and
You know
15
what, though?
hour
I
days.
love that because I don't think most people who listen to your podcast will go, you mean to tell me that Luann worked 7 days a week, 14-hour days? No one ever talks about that. You're right. And that's why it's called the lonely work, right?
Oh,
Like no
yeah.
one's talking about it, but look at where you are today. You can go to the beach for the weekend. You can recharge and fill up your cup. You can say, help, and you'll have people come when you call out help, all of those things. But it's because you did
Yeah.
that work. And I think that's such an easy step to
Yeah.
miss. It is such an easy step to miss. And yeah,
Yeah.
finding your happy spot, man. It's so, I mean, I think about our industry and like what it would be without someone like you speaking into the space that you speak into. And it's huge. And like, it's so clear it's your happy spot. There's the same level of energy in every one of your podcasts. There's great stories about Vinny. Man, he's got to have a thick skin. I love Vinny. Like, I don't even know Vinny. I've never talked to Vinny. I've never met Vinny, right? But like, I love it's personable, it's real, and it's authentic. And I think that because it's who you are. And when you can speak into that space and you figure out what is it that makes me who I am, the world needs that. And for each of us, it's different. And that's beautiful. And if you don't feel you've found that, we should talk about that because the world needs whatever that
Yeah.
is for you.
And I love that because that ties to what you said earlier. When you've done all the
Mm.
lonely work, then it shows up in every conversation with your clients, all of the discovery call, the consultation, the part of the project that went sideways, and now you're there with the builder and the client and the contractor and the this, and you've got to mitigate, and you got to preside over a problem. And what it is it's it's exactly that
Yeah.
wraparound. When you are on your
Yeah.
solid feet with what you're doing, then the fun stuff is even more fun. The hard stuff is
Yes.
handleable.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like and that comes across. So thank you for your compliments. You're giving me the compliments of, the way I show up on the show and it's really me and all of that stuff. But that's the same thing each one of us
Yeah.
is searching for.
Yeah.
And when you find it, it shows up in that consultation. It shows up in that problem with the electrician who, is telling your window treatment person they told them where the plugs go and they didn't. I'm telling you right now.
True story, right? Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like we all have those days where the whole thing blows up. But when all the other work is done, to your point, when you open up your books and you understand them and you have a meeting with a bookkeeper and a CPA and you get it and you have your meetings with your team and you're like, hey, we need action, not motion. When you do all these things, when you know your skill and your craft and you put it all together, it's very hard to rock you then. It doesn't mean we don't get kicked. It doesn't not mean that we're not going to get kicked. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean we're not going to fall down. But it's
Yeah.
hard to keep you down. It's just like, okay, that stunk. You just took a shot at me.
Yeah.
I'm standing again now.
Yep.
Let's go through
Yep.
this. Right. And it's like, or, whatever it is, but it's especially in those hard conversations when you do know your numbers. Like I know the difference when I coach somebody from the beginning of the
Yeah.
year to the end of the year. In the beginning of the year, it's all this, well, she wants me to do it for this much. And I'm wondering if I should. And I could, technically I could. And, I get it. But when over the course of the year, we're building those processes and the designer is seeing how much energy, time, knowledge, education they come to every single conversation with, it's like, oh, I can't do that for that much money. That's ludicrous. That's like asking me to, sell you that Maserati for $20K. It's like, it's a $300,000 car, period. Like it becomes I always say to my people that I talk with in my world, easy breezy. Yep. It's easy breezy. Yep. Just say it and move on because it is just a simple fact. And that's what happens when you do all of that hard, lonely work is you stand in that space of this is just a simple fact that this is how this is going to roll.
100%.
Right. And even if you say it in your own brain and you say it nice, like that could be inside voice and you could say it however you want, outside voice, nice. I don't care. But when you hear it in your brain, nope, line there.
Denied. That is not going to happen. You are not going to shop me. You are not going to try to talk me down of my worth. I know what my worth is. I know what I'm going to provide to your project. It's like a beautiful part that I think confidence comes different to different people in time and presence, right? Sometimes I took a longer, it was a slower build. It took a hot minute. That's okay. That's beautiful. Some people just come out of the gate with it. Outstanding. Like I'm going to go out on a limb and say Luann never struggled with confidence in her entire life. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like it's just something very innate, right? Like everybody gets there at a different point. But when you've done, as you're saying, when you've done the lonely work and you can say, there's a confidence that just comes with that is going to be felt by those around you. Your team will feel it. Your clients will feel it. You will feel it. It's almost like this gravitational force that you sit in that allows you to bounce back. I'm thinking like of the whack-a-mole games in the mall from when I was a kid. You know, you get dunked on the head, but you have this resiliency quotient. You've done the homework. You know where the line should be. You know that ain't going to fly. Love you. Not going to happen today. Like sit from a seat of love, sit from a seat of kindness, but no, just no. Right.
Yeah. I want to clarify something for you because this gets said to me constantly. You probably always had confidence, didn't you? Right. And the thing is, there is a part of that the answer is yes. There's a part of it that's yes. Now everybody has their things, all do. Right? Like, we all have our things. Okay. So slice out the 3 things that were always my things. Like, I didn't want to be in a bathing suit. I'm 30 years old, freaking rock hard body, exercise my butt off. And no, I'm embarrassed to be in a bathing suit. Like whack a mole brain. Okay. Totally whacked. Okay. All right. But generally, what you're talking about is like being a confident person, right? Okay. Confident person in multiple areas most of the time. Okay. I would say
Mm.
that's a truth. Okay. But here is the difference. There is a difference in the confidence that is, I'm confident that I can go in and I can at least attempt this. And if I fall on my face, I'm okay with
Mm.
that. Versus, I'm actually confident, guys. Put 20 questions in front of me on the spot about business, and I'm going
Totally.
to answer them for you. And if I'm not, because here's the actual true confidence. And if I don't have the answer, I'm going to get the answer from you. And I'm not going to be funny that I don't
Yeah.
have the answer for you. You see? So I think there is, yes, I have been raised by a mother who built me to be confident. I accept that. I adore her for it. I appreciate for it. But I know the difference between confidence that's, hey,
Mm.
why not you? You might not do it, might not happen, but what's the worst that could happen? You just get up and go over again. Versus, I've actually learned this thing. I've actually mastered my books. I've actually learned business. I've actually practiced it. And you know what?
Yep.
I'm good here. Right. And that's the
Yep.
same with design, right? Like,
Yep.
I know this. I can walk into any conversation, any contractor, any electrician, and the true confidence is I either know the answer or
Totally.
I'll get the answer. I'm not worried when I'm not
Yeah.
the one who has the answer. That's the
And to
true,
be able to admit
right?
that and say, no, I don't know. That's a great question. Now I'm curious.
I'm in charge of this project though, but I'll
100%.
get it for you. Like that, I'm still in charge, even though I don't know. I'm still
Yep.
in charge. My project.
120%. And I think by conceding that, they,
Right.
it seems like it would come from a place of weakness. That, to your point, is the ultimate strength. It is the ultimate strength. There's nothing better, I
Yeah.
think, than saying that.
Because you maintain your
Yeah,
your
you haven't
your
given up your seat
leadership
of
role.
power. In fact, you've
Like,
even reclaimed
no,
it.
no, it's still
Yeah,
my job, my project.
120%. And there's a deep
Yeah.
respect.
Yeah.
I mean, when the
Yeah.
GC, there's also this humility component with that of like, I don't know, how thick of a grout line do you think that should be? What did the manufacturer say? Let's talk about that for a minute. What is your guy? Well, the
Right.
tag guy just really
Right.
says this isn't going to work. He's done this 100 times. The manufacturer can say it's going to work,
Yeah.
but he says it's not going to work. Let's have that conversation. Okay,
Right.
you're telling me something I don't know.
Yeah.
This is a good day. One, I've learned. I've been curious. I can be kind enough to the guy to
Yeah.
say, I get you. I feel you. Okay, let's not do that. Thank you. Thank you for caring enough to speak up.
Right.
Right?
Thank
There's a
you.
humility. And then also to say,
Yeah.
yeah, ultimately what you're saying is maybe I don't know what's best in this sitting. Right? How much more likely is a GC to respect you and actually call you when there is a problem as opposed to saying, well, just figure it out. We're not going to call the designer under any circumstances.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden you've built rapport.
Right.
And then what's the odds of that GC even referring next time he's in over his head and being like, I got a designer I love to work with. I really think we should bring him in on this job. This is a lot. And we have some scope
Yep.
creep here. We need
Yep.
somebody to speak into this space, right? All of this, there's just such an inertia to it, which I love because it's hard. It was hard for me to feel that inertia in my 20s, but to feel that inertia sitting here in 40s, like, I don't know. This is kind of the sweet spot of getting wrinkles old and cranky, right? Like, I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that you shared that about your
Yeah.
confidence too. I think that that's like such a great moment for your audience to see the difference between
Yeah.
the two of being a confident person, but being confident in what you know or don't know. That's beautiful.
Right. Yeah. 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 I think it is, it's, I don't know if I articulated it well, and I don't know. And it's probably something I should really still explore and try and understand, because I do get asked that a lot. I do get
Yeah.
told that a lot. And I understand the distinction in my
Mm,
brain. You know, I
mm.
know the difference. I know that at 10 and 12 and 14 that I was confident. I know that. But I also know the difference. And it's not that that confidence isn't
Sure.
good or isn't fake, but it's the beginning of it. It's the foundation of it, and it's the beginning of, and I think I just always was taught and prepared, you're gonna fall down. It's just
You
get
have not
up.
failed till you
Like,
don't get up.
we're not
Yeah.
afraid of falling down. I'm not afraid. Like, come on, you can't go anywhere. And so I think that's the confidence that is what my
Sure.
mom built in me. But then the business and all of that comes from the lonely work of the doing the things and paying attention and
Totally
reflecting,
reflecting, being
right?
honest with yourself. And I think like the greatest silver lining, if this feels daunting to anyone, is it can be learned. This is all learned. And those experiences are what
Yeah.
are deemed as failures. Like you were just saying, they're not failures until you don't get back up again. Then it was just a learning opportunity. So when you just keep
It's
going at it time and time and time again, it is amazing the confidence that is built out of that. You can learn this. This is not something where you're like, I have a good eye. I'm a great designer. You can learn. You can absolutely learn this. And to me, that's always really encouraging for those of us that, weren't downloaded
yeah.
with a unique innate skill set. And we're not the savants of the world, right? Happy to claim it. But we can learn it. We can learn it. And that's so empowering. You didn't have to come out of the womb this way to succeed in life. It can be learned. Most things can. It's just the curious and kind quotient again. I feel like, right? Because then you find people in your life who are way smarter than you.
Yeah.
And if you're kind to people, odds are they're willing to share their knowledge with you. And they're happy to. And that's such a glorious moment when you can sit there and be like, teach me your ways. Right?
Yes, 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 yes. It's
Yeah.
so true. It's so true. It's the yes and. That's a great idea. And how about that? What if we did that to it? What if we added this to it? What if we tweaked it this way? The yes and conversations
Well,
are my
they are because it
favorites
goes back to
ever,
that collaboration over competition again. We're back at the collaboration over
Mm-hmm.
competition. It's
Mm-hmm.
everything. In fact, I mean, we were just talking to Jenny
Yeah.
Cano over at IDS about that and just the idea that there's so much beautiful collaboration happening. And I love what you said too. You don't have to know all the answers. Find the person that does. I'm going to sound so old. Find that Rolodex and pack that puppy full with people who are brighter, smarter, and more capable than you, and go ride on their coattails. One, they're going to love to share that with you. 9 times out of 10, people are truly kind and willing to share. And don't be afraid to admit what you don't know. I mean, it's become the mantra of my 40s. I'll show up to a call. Okay, I'm missing something here. I don't know why we're doing this. Can someone
Yeah.
tell me what I don't know, please? you know? And sometimes they're like, no, you're actually not missing something. I will say that's rare. Usually it's, well, Katie, have you thought about? And I'm like,
Katie, yeah.
sure haven't, which is why I led with that question. Let's talk, right?
That's it. That's
Right.
it.
I
That's
love
it.
those
That's
moments though, because
it.
those are moments then that we get to parlay
Yeah.
to other people, to the people coming behind us, which I think is great. That's
Yeah.
a really sweet moment when you get
Yeah.
to share it.
Yeah. 100%. Well, I'll tell you, this has been great. I totally enjoyed this
Me too.
conversation. You gotta you're more wisdom coming out on your podcast. So I've been listening to the podcast, listening to the shows that you're doing. It's a great body of work over there, and it's a good voice in the industry. So I love when we are all coming in here and we're going for the same thing. We want the
We do, and
industry to be better.
we got to invite everybody to
And we
High
want
Point.
Oh yeah. So 4 o'clock Universal on Saturday, the 26th, October
That's what
26th,
we're thinking.
2024.
That's what we're thinking at the moment. Yeah, we're
That's
going to
what
have
we're
a
thinking.
great panel conversation.
Yep. Yeah.
Rick Campos, Michelle Lynn,
Yeah.
and of course you moderating the whole
Yep.
thing. I love that you love throwing fastballs. We're going to be there for that.
Well, see, there's 3 people that can hit the hard balls. You, Rick Campos, and Michelle Lynn.
Oh, it's
Boom.
going to be fun.
We're done. It's like this is like a pinball game for me. Bang, 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 bang.
So
bang,
how
bang,
your
bang,
brain
bang,
works?
Let's
Yeah,
go.
and we're going to be talking processes. So
Yeah.
if you're like sitting on here and you're like processes, I know they're important. Somebody help. Let's learn about processes and all the difference that they make in your business, and it's going to be actionable. That's my big thing. It's great. Once again, back to motion versus action, right?
Oh yeah.
We're going to have some motion, but we're going to give you action.
Right. 100%. Yeah. So, that will be in my, what I don't think they even call it a link tree anymore in Instagram. Who can keep up with all the nonsense? But if you're on my email list, you'll know about it. If you're on Katie's email list, you'll know about it. Otherwise, I'm sure we'll both have it in the thing that's no longer called link tree in Instagram.
I love it. Just come find us. We'll be there.
Just like, oh my God. Anyway, well, Katie, thank you so much for being with me here today. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
My pleasure and privilege. Thank you.
Don't you just love the kinds of conversations like this that are important, but I think unless you sit and really pay attention in your real life, they just get on the back burner, right? we're dealing with our day to day, and we know we should take time to design our business to fulfill our life, right? The whole concept of health and wealth is, joined together, but we don't often do it. And I enjoyed this conversation, and I loved how she emphasized the importance of finding your happy spot in business. Okay. Keep in mind, this is not about following a prescribed path of success, but about understanding what actually makes you tick and align your business with that. And in order to do that, you must take the time to reflect on what fulfills you professionally and thinking about what is sustainable for your life. This might indicate to you that you need to scale up or you scale back or even change direction entirely, which I know can sound scary, but the key is to create a business that works for you, not the other way around. This is why we live with the responsibility of a business, because it does what we want it to do, right? I also enjoyed something that Katie said during the chat, which is the business is built on the back of the lonely work. You see, that's the money line right there, right? The business is built on the back of the lonely work. I love this. I agree 1000%. That is all the behind the scenes effort that you put into building your business, the late nights, the problem solving, the constant learning, the constant improvement, all the challenges that you face as a business owner. It's that work, the work that no one sees and no one appreciates, and often we don't appreciate for what it is. We're just overwhelmed by what it is in the moment, okay? But it's very much like when Candace Olson was on the podcast and she talked about her 25-year overnight success, okay? Which she said consisted of a lot of hard work and making good decisions. All right. That was a fun conversation. If you've not heard that conversation with Candace Olson, we'll link that in the show notes. Don't miss it. Okay. The thing is, it's never just luck. It just isn't. Okay. You can be lucky. You can be lucky to get an opportunity, but if you are not prepared for that luck and that opportunity, you will not be able to rise to the occasion. Okay. And Katie pointed out, this is the work that prepares you for the success and gives you the confidence to handle the success and the challenges as they come along. Right? And for this, it's important to have confidence in facing these opportunities and challenges. And I was trying to put words into it during the conversation. And I think what it is more, to the point. It's not just about having a can-do attitude, which takes confidence, but that's not the kind of confidence that we're talking about. Real, deep-seated confidence comes from knowledge, experience, and preparation. It's the kind of confidence that allows you to be the leader on your projects, with trades, with clients, with your team. It's also the kind of confidence that allows you to, without reservation or embarrassment, say, I don't know, but I'll find out, without feeling threatened. It's about being secure in your abilities while also being humble enough to understand that you are a living, breathing, garden variety human that's going to learn a new thing every day of the week, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? The other thing I enjoyed is how Katie reminded us about the importance of continuous learning and growth. Whether it's through formal coaching, peer network, self-study, the key is to keep, just wanting more for yourself. Wanting yourself to be the best version of you that you can be. The thing is, business skills can be learned. They are learned, okay? You can have a ruthless instinct. You can have an instinct or a tolerance for risk, or you can have an intuition. But the truth is, the business skills are learned. You're not born with them. And you don't need to be born with them. If you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, if I was only born with the business skills, I can make this successful. It's curiosity, it's kindness, it's persistence, it's investing in yourself. You can develop these skills that you need to be successful in your business, right? It's like I always say, I have my group of people that I trust on my Voxer speed dial, and whenever I need them, I know they will be there to help me figure it out and put me on the right path. And I continuously pay to learn from others who know things that I don't know. That's how you get better, right? I hope after this episode, you will take that moment to ask yourself, if you are in your happy spot. And to ask yourself, are you doing the lonely work? You see, because many of us listen to the podcasts, read the books, go to the conferences, pay for the coaches, but then we don't go do the lonely work. I have to tell you, I have a group of COBs right now, chairman on the board clients. Every single one of them I am in such awe of, because almost every day I get a message from one of them on the Voxer that's, I'm here, I'm working on the thing that you asked me to look into, I'm gathering the data, I'm gathering the information, I'm doing the thing, I'm building the system, I'm paying attention to the thing, I have a question. Or I have an insight about this. I think I need to change my mind on something. What do you think? And what I'm saying is that these women that I'm working with now, every one of them, if you're listening to me, you are included in this, they are all doing the lonely work. And I just get such a smile on my face when I listen to these Voxers every day, because they're not just waiting for our meeting every 6 weeks to show up and like cramming the night before and getting some things done and okay, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, I kind of pulled that together. It's like I am absolutely mindfully aware that they are doing the lonely work. And what's so funny is at the end of this COB, probably they will tell me that they learned a lot from me. Probably they will tell me that their business changed because of me. But what I will tell them, it's because of them. It's because they are doing the lonely work. Now, they've decided they want the accountability in the lonely work. I'm the same way. I need the accountability when I do my lonely work too. There's no shame in that. The only shame, and I don't mean shame, put you down. I mean shame, like it's a darn shame, is if you don't do it. If you don't do it. However, Sarah Brennan was the kind of person that could do the lonely work without accountability. She was. We would check in here and there, but when I tell you 80% of what she did alone in her room and push forward listening to the podcast. Some of us can do it that way. All I'm asking you is to pay attention. Are you taking in the information but not doing the things that you need to do to be prepared to get lucky? All right. These are the questions that can help you guide your business towards greater success and more fulfillment in running that business. All right. Thank you, Katie. You are on my short list now. Absolutely adore you. Adore your mind. I love the way it thinks. I love the way it clicks. I love the way that you speak. And I love the advice that you shared with us today. And I cannot wait to see you in High Point. And thank you for showing up today. I appreciate you so much for doing that. All right? Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of Luann Nigara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or Luann University, go to luannnigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to windowworksnj.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.